Now, here's a little bit of a piece of juicy news that could be our first look into what we might expect at Toy Fair this weekend coming up. Obviously, not everything at Toy Fair is just going to be kind of toy related. Some of the stuff that we will be seeing at Toy Fair will be an outlook into what will be happen fictionally with our Transformers brand. And here's a good example of that. Today was the annual screening event by Entertainment One of the companies that Hasbro recently merged with to create the mega company that we have today. And eOne's president of global scripting programming, Poncho Mansfield, was talking about the G.I. Joe, Transformers, Dungeon Dragon, Power Rangers, and Action Man brands, and how they're all being considered for TV and or film adaptation. Again, growing those brands even more. He went on to say, and I quote, you know what has a following, and then you try to find what the right visionary is for it. We're meeting all kinds of writers to make sure we have the right approach for whatever piece it is. There are central brands stated above, the ones that I just mentioned, we will be focusing on. So that's really interesting because it does show that they're aware of what works and what doesn't in the modern age from a branding standpoint, and then finding the right people that could bring that into the modern age. It's an argument that I've had many times before in the past with people, that certain brands just have a very difficult time existing in the modern age, and we see it through rose-colored glasses and go like, oh man, I wish this brand was brought back today. It was so awesome 25 years ago. But things are different. I mean, it's the same way how, a lot of people have problems bringing back, Flash Gordon or Dick Tracy or the Phantom. There's just certain brands that they really need to be revisioned completely in order to exist in the modern era. And, it's the same thing that they're talking about here. Obviously, Transformers is fine. So is Power Rangers. But the question obviously falls into, what do you do with G.I. Joe, Dungeons and Dragons, Action Man, and beyond that? All those brands have had stuff that was to moderate success in the 90s, and even to a even smaller success in the early 2000s, but just didn't catch the audiences to be these mega brands that can move forward. They go on to say here also, feature films such as the new Transformers and G.I. Joe are both coming from Paramount, although TV adaptations of the other Hasbro IPs won't be likely to air until at least 2021. And we know about that, at least in the case of, let's say, something brand new made by eOne of Power Rangers, or that of Dungeons and Dragons and Action Man, and even that of G.I. Joe. We do know we have a Joe movie coming, and we do know that we have at least two Transformer movies coming in Beast Wars and in a Bumblebee sequel. Then they go on to have Noel Hedges, who's the Executive VP of Acquisitions of eOne, and he went to say, and I quote, "We will support Hasbro in-house IPs and now find ways to bring that to the screen internally. Hasbro wants eOne to thrive, and from a distribution point of view, POV, they want us to be a portal through which we can take that and connect with the world. Even if it's a kid's brand," and I like that this emphasis here, this line, "even if it's a kid's brand, it could be integrated into a cross-generational family offering. Hasbro is a family business, but there is a lot that isn't just in the kids space." I like that sentence because what that tells us, and I guess it's probably, there's guys there that see what DC does with their animations. There's guys that see what Marvel does because they work with the Marvel brand from a licensing standpoint for their merchandise. There is ways to write product that is intelligently written that adults could enjoy it, but so can children. This goes all the way back to the 90s when the Batman animated series pretty much told toy companies and toy manufacturers and entertainment manufacturers, you could write a story that's intelligent so that adults could enjoy and still have a toy line, the Batman animated series toy line, that could roll out tons of toys and sell tons of product. Arctic Batman and, action, lightning Batman and laser Batman. They knew that they were able to do that kind of stuff. And Batman really was the lightning rod for that then led on to X-Men, Spider-Man, Beast Wars, all the stuff that Mainframe did really. It kind of led to that more and more. And then, of course, all the toy lines that were really adult movies that had kids' toys all over it, in the case of, Kenner's, Aliens versus Predators and stuff like that. It's just that this shows that this could still exist in this day and age. It wasn't just this weird oddity that the 90s had, where we had these intelligently written shows with toy lines attached to them. We kind of entered this weird purgatory in the mid 2000s to the late 2000s, before 2010, let's say, where they kind of forgot that. They kind of forgot that you can write really well-written shows and still sell merchandise. Obviously, Hasbro has its weird kind of situation right now with how toy sales are declining. Prices are becoming expensive for toy manufacturing. But reading this shows that there still is a glimmer of hope that we could get product that could still be aimed at us as older collectors and older fans. And not just even the Transformer brand, but if you're a fan of G.I. Joe, Dungeons and Dragons, Power Rangers, and Action Man. So it's something that gives a lot of hope. And eOne Entertainment and this merger has been a very good thing for us Transformer fans and as Hasbro people, to be able to see what the future will bring for us from a fictional standpoint. We don't just have to rely on comic books to be this niche, thing that we could get something of a more, adult written kind of material. Chances are, my opinion, what I think might happen, and a lot of people have been saying this, there's a strong chance of possibly eOne Entertainment and Hasbro, bringing back the hub in a lot of ways, the Hasbro hub, but not as a channel, but a streaming service, and who knows what could go from there. But obviously, in order to do that kind of stuff, you got to build a good library first. And while the hub kind of showed us that Hasbro does have a bit of a library, that still was a channel. That still was something that was you only had to cover 24 hours of material, half an hour episodes of stuff. So it really wasn't, a big deal. Oh, get 48, episodes of cartoons a day of all the plethora of Gem and the Holograms and G.I. Joe and, and Transformers, all their 500 to 700 episodes of material, that kind of stuff they had. But when you're talking a streaming service and people who plow through stuff today, you need to have a mega library. And now the merger with eOne will give them that mega library. Now having the Power Rangers brand will give them that library. So hopefully that's probably the direction they'll go. And that's where the hook could then exist. Not only will you have a crazy library of a streaming service from the past, but then you have all the exclusive content created for that service that could be more of an adult-based material. Imagine the hook, like, hey, you get the Hasbro hub, whatever they're going to call their streaming service, but you get that streaming service, and it has the adult-based Transformer series that we've all wanted. Or, when they finally, right now Netflix is going to have the Magic the Gathering series, but after that runs its course, maybe when their own kind of streaming service exists, Hasbro, they could have it exclusively on there. Again, this is just me speculating, but it's something that if you're going to have adult-based written content, and the decline of TV really becoming a thing, it really would be best for them to have something under their own umbrella that they could control. And then when you have, again, the good thing with streaming services, you could control the rating system. You could control what is adult content, what is kids content. You don't have to worry about, oh man, like, we want to write this really good show, but it could only be, at this certain time on HBO. No, now you could write whatever you want. It could be crazy adult content, it could be kids content, but all of it is under one banner, and people would be able to do that. Anyone that's been on Disney Plus right now could see how it could swing one way and it could swing the other way, and it's all under one umbrella. And Disney was very smart to get both the Marvel and Star Wars brand to build Disney Plus, and it's only the same thing in the case of Hasbro. Build that brand, build all that library of all that material, and then come at it and attack it and give us a whole bunch of crazy stuff. Let me know what you think about this. This is a lot to take in, but again, we're only a few days away from Toy Fair, so who knows what reveals and what little things that we'll see for 2020 and 2021 moving forward. I mean, it's going to be a next crazy year.